Guys, the topic that we're about to talk about can get kind of suggestive and 18 plus. So if you guys aren't 18 plus or
it's not raunchy, but
it's not raunchy, but it's adult content in terms of marriage and dating. If you guys don't feel comfortable watching that, please click off now.
Yeah.
Thank you. What is up, miniguns? Welcome back to the Pop Off, where we pop off on a bunch of different topics. And if you don't like it, you ain't getting none of my honey. Honey.
That was weird.
That was bring that over here just to do that joke.
Yeah. Not a fan of that one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I didn't really like that one either. But I thought it matched the topic, honey.
Oh, anyways, yeah, you're right. Okay, that's a little bit better. That's a little bit better.
All right. Well, you guys can find the links in the description box below for Patreon and our iTunes. We have the full audio versions on the iTunes link as well as our Patreon. So if you guys are feeling extremely generous, you guys can donate to us, please. And I'm saying donate because I would like you to donate to us on the Patreon.
And don't hate.
Donate.
Don't hate. Donate.
Don't hate, donate. Nice, I like that. Anyways.
Nice. Sorry, I didn't realize my mic was all over here. Hey, ladies.
Hey.
Audiobus supports.
What? I need you to stop.
Supports over 900 apps except for Logic. That's stupid. Sorry, that has nothing to do.
Don't
with
worry about audio buses. Take the audio car. It's more personal.
Anyways.
Oh yeah. Hey everybody! Today I'm joined by Woodland. Eats trash Demars?
I eat trash?
Okay, never mind. He's going to attack me. Today I'm joined by
He's
Woodland. He's a quarter, 25 out of 10. That's what you get. I was going to have a funny one, but you were going to jump on me, so it's whatever. Today I'm also joined by Patrick.
You can give me a funny one.
Let me think.
I won't get offended.
Patrick Post Malone's Jones. That's what I'm going to start.
Wow.
Yeah, I felt good. I felt pretty smooth.
That's not bad.
And today I'm joined by Gunner.
Don't do it.
It's just too easy, Gomez. Look at that haircut, dude.
Just too easy.
I'm not even gonna say anything. And then you're joined by me,
Because I took my
Tanner, the beautiful nipple tank moment. Look at that.
Look at that armpit hair.
No, dude, because he was like, and I'm also joined by, and I took my hat off and realized he just stared straightly at my, he stared straight at my
Somberly.
Somberly, yeah.
Somberly.
We learned that somberly also has to do with
Color.
tones and color.
Apparently.
It's dark and dull tones of color.
Yeah, you're looking somber today, Woods.
Interesting.
You're looking dull.
So today's topic is actually going to be the pros and cons of singleness versus the pros and cons of relationships.
Dude, it's like throwback Patrick Jones's YouTube channel. Have y'all ever seen that? I used to do pros versus cons.
Dude, are you trying to plug your channel right now?
Dude, they were
Are
cringy
you
so
trying
bad.
to plug your channel
Go subscribe.
in that thing up there?
Yeah, right. Like you'll actually link to my channel. I don't believe that for half a second.
Oh, now you're definitely not getting it. You're really trying to guilt us into this, aren't you, Pat?
Yeah,
No,
he's
100%. I
trying
don't
to
care.
guilt it.
I'm
I
not
just don't
posting
care.
videos.
I don't care, but if you did it, I'd be
I
like,
don't care.
whatever.
Like
I haven't posted a video in a minute.
I don't care, but I mean, I don't think you'll do it.
They're going to search it now. Go click off this video.
$50 says you won't do it, nerds.
Nerds.
Just Pat things.
All right.
This is
So
a
first
brilliant
off, let's
idea.
start. What?
Let's start
With
with
Pat things?
Revolving my setup over there.
Okay,
Anyways.
well, let's start by, do you enjoy being single more or do you enjoy being in a relationship more?
In a relationship. Easy.
Yeah.
Patrick,
Easy
you've only
for
been in
me.
like a 3-month long relationship, haven't
Sorry,
you?
was he asking you?
And yeah, no, because I've been single so much, I'm tired of it.
Come
That's
get
what
him,
it is.
ladies.
That's what it is. No, I love being in a relationship. I love spoiling people, although not like crazy spoiling.
Yeah.
I just love being in a relationship. I think I
Why?
killed the relationship game when I was in my relationship. It just
Is that why
happened
you're
that
single
they
now?
cheated on me. So
Oh.
And they ended up liking girls, didn't they?
yeah, the girl cheated on me on a girl. So
Dude, you must really love relationships.
Yeah.
this is water, not vodka.
I will say, oh man, Woods and I were talking about this, and being in a relationship, I mean, it's tough. It really is tough. I feel like being in a relationship is, I think it's better. I think it's better if you're with the right person, right?
Yeah,
Because the all the time where it was just my relationship was perfect, that was the best time of my life, straight up. The most fun I've had, the most kind of like almost carefree I've been, you know, where it's you stop caring so much about like how other people view you because you know like this other person like views
Loves
you
you,
like
yeah.
as like you're an angel,
Exactly.
you know. So that was really great. Being single, so yeah, and then being single is great too. Like if you're actually single, if you're not so like hung up on the past, like I had been for a bit, like a while.
Yeah, you're just chilling, loving life.
Now that I can finally be like I can breathe easy. Before I could never breathe easy. There's shortly after you get out of a relationship that's a real serious relationship. I feel you have this moment like every day, every second feels like is this second better that I'm with them or not with them kind of thing, right? And so it's so much easier to relapse back into something because if you have a lot of days where you're just like, I really miss the good times, really miss doing this and miss this, it's so much easier to just like fall back into it. Even no matter how aware you are of what the consequences are going to be or how it's going to be, or the possibilities or impossibilities of it, you kind of just fall back because you just remember like that happiness, and then you're not happy single because you're too busy spending time on it. So you think of how happy you could be when you're in a relationship. Yeah. So yes, I think that being single when you're not like that, being single when you're just living your life and being happy, I think that's the most likely you're ever going to be getting into a relationship.
Yeah.
Because girls love confidence. Let me tell you guys out there, all you guys out there that are watching us, I think statistically it's like 70% or something like that.
No, I actually have a.
You probably have a lot more
even
girls.
split 50-50.
Yeah.
Nice.
So for all you guys out there, girls love confidence. You do not have to be a dime piece. Look at me. I've been in relationships. You don't have to be a dime piece.
Same.
But if you act confident, not cocky, cocky's bad. Girls don't like that.
Yeah,
but
that's
if you look like you love your life, which you should work on loving your life if you don't.
Fake it
But-
till you make it. It goes both ways, though. Guys love confidence in women as well.
Oh, well,
But but guys also, I think but I feel I can't speak for women as much, whereas I can speak for men that I know it works when if you love your life and you're happy with what you're doing and you are being somebody that people want to be around, it's going to show, right? If you're like down in the dumps and you're constantly thinking about like, oh man, I'm so sad and so sad. Girls look at that as like, okay, that kid's a sad boy. I don't really want to be around him unless they're trying to make you their fix, their fixer-upper kind of
It
guy.
absolutely goes both ways, man.
Yeah, I would imagine so. But I feel like girls aren't so much like, maybe from just what I've seen, they're not so much like they aren't looking for, like guys, I guess, aren't looking so much for like a girl that's just super confident and flaunting it kind of thing.
It's
because I look
good.
for more so than anything. I like a girl who knows she has. I guess it is confidence. A
Yeah,
girl that
no,
knows what she's got, but
knows
she's
what
kind
she
of
wants.
she's reserved. She's very modest, Whereas like I think girls like a guy. Maybe this is just stereotyping. That's like he's confident, he knows what he got, and he's showing it. Like he's showing it, and he's happy about it, kind of thing,
You're explaining the
So maybe it's the same
I think
thing.
it's the same thing.
Yeah,
It
I think
probably
y'all
is.
are explaining the same
Maybe
thing.
I'm just feeling
It's just
like
a
little
different kind of confidence because I feel like the type of confidence that girls that's good for girls is more of like what you're talking about, of like a modest kind of confidence of just being like, this is like I don't care to like always go out and be so flashy because I know what I got and I can flaunt it
There's a
when I
good
want it, right?
balance you need.
But then guys' confidence being more like not needy,
Yeah.
I think. I don't know.
Anyways,
Is
that's
that-
advice.
Yeah? Yeah?
Oh
I
my
don't know.
gosh. My
What?
mother was right about everything.
Oh my gosh! Stop reading cups, dude.
Oh my gosh.
Stop reading cups.
All right, so
There's
yes.
a cup over there. Anyways,
Finishing that,
yeah.
I think that's
There's
good
pros to
advice.
both for sure.
So there's definitely pros to both.
and
I
cons.
think the end game for everyone is to be in a relationship. So I
Yes.
think it's pretty safe to say a relationship should be better.
Yes.
And sharing your heart and loving someone else is always better.
Yes.
there's some people that really like being single.
True. Some people just love independence.
Dude,
Well,
I
yeah, you
love-
don't
I
have to
think-
worry about other people.
I think
You're
the
done.
fact that men are so like physically driven
Yeah.
that they should be in relationships though. Like for the most part, I believe.
well, they're so physically driven, but I mean, even
Well, hold on. What exactly do you mean by that? I'm curious. I want you to elaborate. I really want Gunnar to elaborate.
I don't
Like
think
we
I
can't
can.
control ourselves as much as women can.
Well, it's not so much that.
Do you think
it's
guys should
just-
always be in a relationship because?
No. So basically,
Okay.
the reason I'm saying that is because my biblical view on that is that there shouldn't be any sex before marriage.
Yeah.
But and basically it says that in the Bible that it's better you're single, but because that you men can't generally control their sex drive, it's better to be in a relationship and like have sex in the confines of marriage. That's essentially where I was going with that. But
I think it's good
I
for
think-
anyone to be eventually married. I think that's like Tanner said, that's the goal.
Well, no, like I said, like some people really do much better single.
Yeah, but I think like if you're saying like it should be better, I think everyone should have a closeness with another person that is more so than just a really good friend. I think everyone should have. I think everyone deserves that in their own way and should have that. Now, if they don't want that, then that's their own prerogative. But I think everyone should have the ability to have that. Is what
yeah,
I'm
for
saying.
The way
sure,
I
for
see it
sure.
is,
I
is
agree.
when you're dating, you're like testing.
what I'm-
like you're like Goldilocks kind of. You're
testing
seeing
the
what
waters.
you like. You're seeing, and this like you're not going in a relationship for that sole fact, but it is a big part of dating. That's why you date, and that's why you're in relationships, and you
You
figure
find out about a lot about yourself
exactly
and what you want in others.
exactly.
Yeah.
And even if it's a great relationship, down the line it might bug you. You may hate it, blah blah blah. But that's the thing too. Also, like when you're in a relationship, like it's great. You got comfort. You got that person. But the cons of the relationship, when you think about it, they could be all the problems, all the issues, all the worrying, and like finding trust. But then again, those cons, if you work them out and you work those issues out, can be your pros in the end run.
Yeah.
Which is like that's the real struggle of a relationship for sure, is just getting all that out of the way. And there's never not going to be problems. That's part of a relationship. That's just like having a friendship. But when you're single, you ain't got anybody to worry about but your boys.
Yeah.
And your girls, if you're a girl. Or you have friends who are girls. Or if you're a girl and you have friends who are boys.
Your
You know what I
friends.
mean?
Yeah.
You
Your
gotta
friends.
cover all bases.
Yes.
I think there's more pros and more cons for a relationship.
Yeah, because you're adding 100% more person into your life.
Yeah,
I mean,
think
like,
that's just
well, like,
generally-
like you think like, okay, some people when they've put out a pros and cons list, they're like, okay, which one has more pros, which one has more cons?
No, it's
Both
more
of them are relationships. Like, because you think, okay,
Well,
if
no,
I'm choosing between A or B,
the
if A
point-
has more pros than B and B has more cons, then the obvious choice
What
is
about
well,
the
the
quality
point. No, the
of the
point
pros
is
and cons?
the leveling. Like, does this have 3 more pros than the cons, or does this have 7 more pros than the cons?
Well, this is
it's
the-
that like.
Well,
50
I thought we're doing
versus, like
single
77.
with
versus
pros
Well,
and
no,
relationship.
I'm just talking about like the way he was comparing, because he's like thinking that like if you have more pros on this side and more cons, then it's just like whoa.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm
No,
just
he's
saying,
saying-
I'm saying you typically, if you're choosing between A or B and you have more pros on A and more cons on B, then the obvious choice would be A. The hard part about choosing this is that they're both on A.
Well, no, the hard
There's
part
both more
about
pros
the
and more
reason you
cons.
don't. The reason pros and con lists are absolutely stupid if you're going quantitatively is because not every pro and not every con are equal. It's not like
Yeah,
if I
that's
have
so
it,
true.
it's not
Well,
every
it depends
con
on
is
how
worth,
you do it.
Well,
I'm
no.
not gonna sit here. Well, okay, when I do a pros
This
or
girl,
cons list,
okay, cons list. One of her teeth is a little. One of her
I
teeth
don't
are a
do
little
that.
stuff.
I don't do
Other
that.
cons list. She has a tendency to sleep with other men. Are those two worth
no,
the
no.
exact same?
They're-
No.
yeah, but you're,
they're both
you're right.
cons.
You're right, but I don't. When I make a pros and cons list, I don't include the stupid stuff like that. I only include
is
stuff
funny.
that matters. So like
I
that
would
way they're-
include this. I'd include everything. if you're
I
doing
don't
pros and
care
cons.
if you
enjoy
have a
this.
crooked tooth. Like,
So if they
Well,
all
that-
matter, do they all matter equally?
I'm enjoying this.
I disagree.
conversation.
what do you mean?
Because here's what I'm saying. You're like, I don't include the stupid. I don't include the little stuff. Like, I only include the stuff that matters. But that still doesn't change the argument that
But, like,
if it's a
some
pros
other
and cons
stuff-
list, some pros
Some of the
and
stuff
some
is
cons.
going to be stupid.
Yeah.
No, there's definitely gonna be
They
things
don't
that
all have-
outweigh them for sure.
Yeah, so that's
but
why
it's
if-
very rare. I feel like.
Oh heck no.
No. You let me finish.
All right,
my
let's-
sentence. There's definitely. I feel like it is rarer to have one singular item be more than like 20. To be worth more than 20 on the other side.
Well, sure, but tell me the last time you wrote a pros and cons list that was over 20 each.
Oh, dude, I'm thorough.
Oh, I bet, Pat. You can't name 20 pros about me right now.
I can too. You want to bet? You want to do this?
Yeah,
right
give me
now?
20 pros and 0 cons.
No, hold on. He's like, I'm thorough, but yet he doesn't care about the tooth, the missing tooth.
No, I don't care about that.
Look,
I don't care about that.
enough.
I'm
Let's
not. I'm not
get
thorough
I'm
then.
all
Can
about
we
what's
get back on the topic?
inside, Gunner.
We've all been in
I'm
relationships.
authentic.
We've all been in relationships. What are your favorite pros about a relationship?
My favorite pro that came out of a relationship is when you give someone everything, right? There comes a point, like, and this is trust and honesty and all this stuff, but when you're in a relationship and you finally start the relationship, and I think it's generally when I say, like, hey, I'm starting this relationship, I'm gonna start like giving you everything. It's not just dating anymore. I give that person everything I have. Like, I give them like my heart, I give them everything, because by being in a relationship with them, I'm saying, I think you deserve this, you know? Not just the dating, but like, I think you've earned this, and I think I can trust you with this, right? And obviously it's not just instantly, it grows through time, but it's the process, right? And I think the biggest thing I've learned is like how rewarding it is to have someone else that knows you just as well as you know yourself.
Hopefully.
But also, hopefully, right? I think it is true. Like, if you're in a relationship where you're doing that and you guys are both actively kind of
Pursuing
coming
the
together,
other person.
exactly. It's
Exploring
everything.
each other.
Yeah,
each other's bodies. No, I mean, you know,
But
yeah.
in a relationship,
exploring
it's
each
true
other's
though.
personalities,
My best friends,
traits.
I don't know my best friends like that. Nor do I ever want to know my best friends like that.
I don't know. You know a lot about me.
I know a lot about you like that, but we don't explore each other like that.
Yeah,
you
you
know?
don't like endlessly pursue Gunner.
Yeah, and so, anyways,
Nor should anyone. I'm just kidding.
even after my relationship, the one thing
Heed the
I can
warning.
say
Heed the warning.
is, even though my relationship had an end date, I think that I was so
depressing
Yeah,
as
it is depressing. I
heck,
should be
dude.
writing a book or something about this. But
Writing a
even
song.
though it ended, I think, especially looking back, I'm so grateful to have had a relationship. Like, oh, love and loss kind of thing. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think I'm so grateful to have had it, especially with who I had it with, because I learned absolutely so much about myself. And the person I had it with was relentless. You know what I'm saying? If I would mess up, like, I would get grilled. Like, there wasn't this, like, which sounds kind of crappy, but I love that stuff. I love when someone's like, nah, dude, like, you look like an idiot right here. And I'm
Nice
just like,
to know.
And usually I can just fight back, but it's like, this is your girl. You're like, you know what? You're probably right though.
Yeah.
Like, because she looks at you the way you look at her in a sense, right? And so when I look at someone, I'm like, I love this person, and so you want what's best for them. Most people are like, yeah, I love that Tanner kid. He's got these problems, but like, yeah, he'll figure it out, kind of thing. Like, they don't. But she's like, nah, dude, I got to live with this. So she's like, we're gonna fix this together. That stuff is great, and so you learn so much about yourself. But also, heartbreak teaches you everything, man. Like, if you like recovering through it and kind of learning about a lot of your faults and trying to fix them for someone else, but for you as well, and understanding that everything that you do also impacts someone else. It's being in a relationship is selfless, right? You have to be selfless in a relationship, in a good relationship. Yeah. If you're selfish in a good relationship, it's not going to last. It's just like having kids. That's why I think people who are just popping out babies
that
like
just
it's
adds
nothing.
a whole new layer to selflessness.
One
you
shouldn't
have
be
to
working
literally
harder
give
than the other.
everything, you know. So I think that's why I'm so cautious about both relationships and children. Is I'm trying to be selfless, like actively, which I feel like is better than a lot of most people are doing on Earth, right? And I still don't feel like I'm ready for that kind of commitment and that kind of like ability to give out, especially after being in a relationship. I looked at how selfish I was, even though I thought I was selfless. I looked at how selfish I was through a lot of it, right? Ooh, yeah. And that's not saying like I was the problem or like she's 100% blame or anything like that. But when you look at it like from that, it's just humbling. It's really humbling to like have to look at yourself and be like, I am a problem to someone, especially when you try so hard to never be a problem to anyone. So that is like the greatest thing in a relationship is just learning about yourself. And I still love that girl. Like, I'm not like in love with her, but I love her. And like, that's the other weird thing too, is like, you just never will ever stop loving that person. And because once you give your heart to someone, like, they got it, dog. And you can give it to other people, but like that person still got it. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's just weird. It's weird to have it officially kind of, in someone else's hands too.
I agree with that. I mean, Meg and I, when we were together before, we were together, and then we took a year apart. It just wasn't working with the time, and like I wasn't ready, she wasn't ready, and we both agreed that the time we had apart was needed. It was needed as much as we did grow with each other, we also grew when we were separated because yeah, you can help each other grow as well, but there is a certain point in a relationship where you can both just kind of drag each other down while being comfortable with it, and it's kind of a line it's hard not to cross. You got to make sure that you're always challenging each other. But I will say, like, when that year I did enjoy like the single life for a good while, but I never felt as much fulfillment at being single as I did with Meg.
Yeah,
and I that was always in the back of my mind, and it was really, it's only been with Meg. Like, I've had many other girlfriends before, and like there's been lessons learned and blah blah blah, but like it's really just been with Meg, and I guess that's kind of like how you know, like when you've got something great is when you feel like you're doing something valuable with this person.
It's not like a waste of time when you're like,
Yeah, it's not like a waste of
even
time.
when you're doing nothing, it feels
when you're
valuable.
doing nothing, yeah,
Yeah,
and even
I
when you're
agree.
just like BSing around, it's valuable. So yeah, there's
Quality
definitely a
time.
sense of fulfillment you'll reach when you're with that person. And I'm not saying it's like my one true love. Like, it's I don't believe in like the whole destiny. Like, there's
No,
that one.
I
one
don't believe
person
there's a
out there
one
for
true
me.
person
No.
for you. No.
Gosh, no. It's even if you do love that person and you feel this amazing power with them, there's going to be hella problems, and you've got to work on it. It's
I agree.
oh man, but yeah, single life's good too.
I'm gonna talk about the pros of single life. I think that I think we do the most growing when we're single, in terms of like it gives us a chance to really like understand ourselves and like what we want,
Our independence.
yeah, our independence. And I do believe that we should be comfortable in our singleness before getting in a relationship, because
Absolutely.
like that's where like that confidence comes, and that's where like you kind of start to learn selflessness. And then as you progress into a relationship, that's when you get tested even further. And it's like, if you're not ready even for just to like, if you're not even independent, like you're trying to find financial stability and like all this other crap, like you have no business being in a relationship, you know, because
Yeah,
it's
you're
just
right.
like, you're just like, you're not confident, you're a jealous jerk, and you have
adding
no
more
money.
stress.
You're having
Well, I
adding
mean,
more stress
I
to
feel like a
someone else's
relationship
life,
could help
like-
you with certain things depending.
No,
on
absolutely. I'm not saying it definitely can strengthen a lot of characteristics that you have, but I do think there's plenty of characteristics that you already have to be working on and developing before you can even
You gotta learn how to
try
be on
for
your own
a
before you're
successful
with anybody.
relationship. So, but
yeah, I think Tanner hit mine perfectly as well.
Hey, you're
Is-
what?
hit your what?
God, I hate all of you. The biggest pro for me, and like I don't have a lot of relationship experience. I only consider myself to have only had 2 girlfriends. I've like gone on dates with other people. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I've gone on dates with other people, but I've only considered to be in like 2 relationships, right? And both of them were short term. One of them ended because I was an idiot. The other one ended because she was an idiot. So I don't have a ton of experience. But for me, like the one thing that I've always looked for in a relationship is someone that, like Tanner said, that could be like someone who knows you just as well as you know yourself. Someone who like obviously pushes you to grow in a good way. Because people who always say this idea of like you should never change for someone, I just don't agree with that at all. I don't think you should change your morals and your viewpoints just to please someone. But if you're not open to evolving, then you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Becoming more less selfish, becoming someone who puts other people before you, like that is changing.
That's change.
That is
exactly.
like yeah, you're gonna change regardless.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and that's when I think that's when relationships work. If you're just like I'm not gonna change anything, the relationship just isn't gonna work.
You find out your wife likes some flowers in the morning before she goes to work, or like she
Every
likes an
day?
omelet or something.
Every
like
day?
she likes an omelet before she goes to work. You're
She can
darn
cook it,
right.
dog. I'll give her
Well,
the. No,
I
I'm just
know.
kidding.
That's what I'm saying. You're darn right. I'm gonna change and try to make her day better by waking up in the morning and making her an omelet before she goes to work. You know, it's like one of those
Go
things.
get
that-
make some flowers.
You should do that. You actually should do
Yo,
that.
no,
after
now,
this.
now
Yeah,
if
before
you
dinner,
forget,
can I?
but if you forget now and she watches this episode and you haven't given her any yet,
Oh.
you better do it now.
Yo.
You gotta do it now.
Set a reminder.
Set a reminder.
No, but like that's part of changing, and that's
Yeah.
part of like really trying to be less selfish.
Yeah, and there's
You're
definitely
changing and trying to make someone
Yeah.
else's life
Well,
better.
it's just compromise too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
when you're in a relationship, you have to take into consideration their interests too, you know, and what they want. And I mean, some things that can remain independent, but a lot you get a lot of different interests and stuff like that too. Before my last relationship, I was never like into hip hop music or really into any of that stuff, but she was, and I was like, all right, I'll listen to more. And then as I kind of listened to more, I started to get it more. Before I was like, oh, it's just a dope beat and somebody saying a bunch of random stuff over it. But after, you kind of get it. Like it changes, like it makes you feel a certain way, and it makes you like your body, like, I don't know, it's just like a natural kind of attraction to it, you know? And by being in a relationship, like I learned to kind of like that stuff too. So there's changing. I don't know, anybody who like says like change is bad, I think there's absolute clowns, because change is like the best part about being human, you know, is that you get to change, and that you don't have, and you get to be a part of it, and you get to understand what your changing is, and that you're self-aware about it, and that you can control it. Like that's like the whole point in existing. What if like, oh, don't change who you are? I know this is more literally, but imagine being told that at like 12, like, but like, what, like, then you go through puberty, then you start
You're
getting
still
interesting
12.
girls. Oh God, then you're out on your own. Oh God, and then guess what? You still act like a 12-year-old, then you look like an idiot. Like like I know that's technically more literally, but I mean
No,
the
you
same
understand.
thing, right? Like your interests are meant to change. You're meant to
Yeah.
want different things
Evolve.
because your care.
Can
is
you
about that.
imagine if you were the same person you were when you were 16 at 18?
I would not be here.
Oh,
right now.
dude, no, I would.
Oh my god!
Like if I was the
You
same
guys would
person as
hate-
I
you
am
wouldn't
when
be
at
able to.
16, I would not be in California.
Oh, you would hate
Yo.
me too.
Who was I when I was 16, man?
dude.
I was a shy little kid who like thought everyone like talked about me behind their backs and judged me all the time, and
Well,
then
we
eventually
do.
I got over that.
That was
and
like the start of
"That's
my
dumb,"
like
but yeah,
mental breakdown. Was like when I was 16 for sure. So that'd be a rough.
Oh
time.
man, emotions were flying when I was 16.
was my
I thought I
depression.
was the
Stage.
That was 100% like
100%. That was actually
I
like,
actually
leg-
had that way before.
dude. I thought I was
Dude,
the
I
best
was-
thing
I
that
was-
was walking planet Earth.
No, that was like 14 and 15, dude. I was tearing
really?
it up as a freshman, sophomore.
Dude.
Freshman and sophomore, dude, I was over here just like flexing. And I was the skinniest little like punk kid that deserved nothing. I was like, yeah, but if you act like you get it, then you get it kind of thing,
Dang.
especially at that age. And then I got super humbled, super depressed. And I was like,
Yeah.
all right, well, I don't want any of that stuff anymore.
I was
Life is a
depressed
roller
probably
coaster.
about when I was like 12, 13.
I was
about when
I
when
was
I was depressed.
like throughout
Yeah.
middle school and high school for me for sure was just a terrible time. Like it wasn't until like halfway through freshman year of college that I was just like, this is all stupid, and then I just like slapped myself across the face.
You know,
and
it's
I
not,
was
you know it's
and
not
now
stupid.
I'm me. Now I'm me.
Now
You're
I'm me.
welcome.
You know it's
You're
not
welcome.
stupid.
Birdwatcher
It's
Jones.
honey. Honey is so good.
You're right.
Honey's so
I don't
good.
Thank you for
understand,
that
but
input.
that's cool. Yeah, for
Anyways,
sure. For sure. There's we haven't even really talked about. We've only talked about pros as much. What about
Yeah.
some like cons? Because
Cons of
like
being
a
in a
huge like, and, like
relationship?
this is just like obviously it's more shallow,
many.
but like too many. Obviously this is more shallow, but like obviously you're not going to have as much money if you're in a relationship because you're going to be paying for things.
well, some
mean,
cons to
what
relationship.
if she makes more money than you do?
Hey, if she's willing to pay for like
you're
dinner
okay
one
with
day,
that.
I'm cool with that.
well, some cons to relationship
my,
is like
my
you.
pride wouldn't let me do that.
You've got to be.
That's not good.
No, I'm joking.
In a relationship, you've got to be always kind of
Aware.
ready to be disappointed because you're.
Dang.
That's dark.
No, I mean,
It's
but
super
it's,
depressing.
Yeah, it's true. Like that.
Well, there's
like
a lot
you
of
can't.
truth in that. For
Yeah,
sure.
you gotta
sounded
trust that
super
that
bad.
person's not gonna like leave you tomorrow.
Well,
You don't know that.
Yeah, it's all about.
That's always
Never gonna want to
your
be in a relationship with a
expectations.
cat.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you lower your expectations, you're gonna be happy a lot more.
Yeah, and
because
that's
you're-
also on you
like,
too. You've got to. You know,
not
you've
gonna be
gotta
That
see
doesn't
that
mean you
person.
shoot lower. Like you don't like
well,
shoot
no,
for garbage. but-
expectations. I'm talking about
Yeah.
like expecting this person that you're getting in a relationship with to be perfect and to like
I
do
hate
everything.
that.
Woods and I were
like,
talking about it, and we realized
not.
like a lot of like the jealousy we've gotten like in relationships, right? Like jealousy, obviously not a good thing, but a lot of the jealousy we have gotten from in relationships isn't even because it's we're jealous of what they're doing or where they're going or we don't trust them or anything. It's more so just like for me. like my ex girlfriend had a lot of other guy friends, and and it's tough, like seeing at first, and then but you trust them, but it's tough, you know. You're like,
well, especially in a new relationship, you don't know how much you trust them yet.
Well, yeah, because we haven't fully trusted. Like, there's still not that full trust yet, you know.
Exactly.
But I think the hardest thing is seeing someone like I saw this girl and I like loved this girl, and so I understood this girl's value probably more valuable than anything. Like, this girl was so valuable to me, right? And I was like, this girl is a dime. Like, any guy would be lucky to get with this girl, right? And even if she wasn't, like, you're in love. So, like, that is how it feels to you, right? And so my biggest thing is, like, it's not that I don't think that I trust that she won't go off and do bad things, right? But it's that, like, I know some guy is going to try and do something, and I'm not going to be there to be able to, like, back it up, you know?
That's where. Face.
Yeah, exactly. No, not necessarily, but at least be there to be like, nah, dog, like I love this
Take
girl.
it.
I mean,
You don't get to love this girl. I love this girl.
Occupado.
Brad, I mean, if you look at my woman, we're morally obligated to fight. Even if you give her a hug, you better do like that hips out hug,
Or the side hug.
Or the side hug.
If you're getting full access, not about.
No, we're gonna fight.
It's true. It's tough, man.
It
It's
is.
just like imagine you, and I don't want to treat this like property because it's not, but like imagine having this like ball that is like, or like a diamond, you know,
Do
it's
you
like
like
this
playing
giant
catch?
diamond.
Better-
and
yeah,
it's something
better
you love
enough.
so much. It's like the One Ring in Lord of the Rings, right? Like, you adore this thing, like you love it, and some other dude just comes up, he's like, just like starts throwing it around. Even though like the diamond's all about you, it's like the fact you're touching my diamond, I don't like that. Like, stay the heck away from my diamond. Like, that's how I am with my girlfriend. I'm just like, yo, I know I trust you with everything, but I don't trust guys. Like, I know
That's
guys
the big
way
part.
too well to trust
That's the
other
big
men.
part.
Oh,
Especially
absolutely.
if I know that guy.
I'm a guy.
Because this guy, like, if I know the guy and he's like just trying to get with the girls, I'm like, no, dude,
Well,
don't
I
you
think
come
there's
here.
also a
That's
respect.
why I haven't brought Meg around, you guys.
Oh,
Because
you
I know,
don't know,
especially
actually?
Pat's
Well,
trying to flex
I
on
mean-
her.
She's trying to watch her birds.
like-
Yeah, that's what you gotta worry about with
Pat,
me.
are you trying to watch my girl's birds, bro?
No,
Tweedledee, dog.
I do think there's an aspect of respect that should be there as well, because I do think that out of respect,
gotta give 'em a space.
I wouldn't want to like be alone with a girl because, well, I don't trust myself. I wouldn't want to do that. But also, like, well, I think most men don't trust themselves. Like, if you're gonna be alone with a girl, chances are something bad's gonna happen. But I mean, like, I think for the most part, there should be respect there that knowing if your significant other doesn't necessarily like that you being alone with the opposite sex, and like it just opens up so much, like
It really depends on
cans
what-
of
Dude, I
worms.
know.
Yeah,
It's
it
hard.
opens up a lot of can of worms, and like it's also like it leaves it up to interpretation too, which is a lot of like
That would
something
be
you don't want.
That
to
would be
happen.
the hardest thing. That's the hardest thing for me to overcome for sure. I've been cheated on, and so like with someone of the same sex, so it's even worse.
So it's like I can't trust anyone.
it was one of her best friends. What am I supposed to do?
She's like, you're going out
Pat's
with the
Pat's like, you hanging out with the girls tonight? just
getting all
be
jealous of the
good.
girls.
Give me a call. You know, every like 15.
Make sure you don't sleep over. I don't know what's going on over there.
You're going out with the girls? I don't think so.
Yeah, dude, like it's really rough, and it's one of those things. I don't like. I'm not asking y'all
That's
to talk about it if
funny.
y'all want to talk about it. I don't know if any of y'all have been cheated on, but if you've been cheated on, it's obviously a lot harder to like not agree with that, because I totally agree with you. You should have a respectability factor. You should have a trust factor where you're like, look, I trust you. I know you're not like you're like you said. I'm worried about the other guy. I'm not worried about you. But when you've been burned, it's hard to not think.
No, dude,
about
when you
it.
get burned once, it's no longer like it could be me. It's like it's been me.
It's
all
been
right?
me.
Yeah, I 100%
Exactly.
feel that.
Fool
It's a
me once,
scar.
shame on me. Fool me
No,
twice.
fool me,
Or
yeah.
wait,
Fool me
yeah,
once,
one
shame on you. Fool me
Oh,
twice.
shit,
I'm
shame on
scared
me.
of.
Exactly.
I don't want to
Yeah.
have shame on me. I'm scared of getting fooled twice.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I'm saying? Like,
Well, with that partner, like if it's a new partner after you've been cheated on with the old one, yeah, like there's gonna I felt that, dude. It's God, it's painful.
Yeah.
But like if they haven't given you a reason to not trust them, then like the way I look at it is you have to give them your trust, and if they can prove right with your trust, then awesome, like amazing. If they can't, then like
you shouldn't
that's
be with
on
that person,
them.
and then you shouldn't be with that person anyways.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
exactly.
true, but it's just the doubt. The doubt's
Yeah.
It is, but you have to do that in order
tough.
to make a strong relationship.
Yeah, because I'm a big what if scenario guy. I hate that about myself. It's one of the many things that I can't stand about one of the many things. I don't like hate myself. It's like one of the few things that I like really just hate that I do is I always talk about like what if scenario. It's good to analyze stuff, 100%.
Oh no,
but I go way too far.
Yeah,
I overthink everything, right? And so I'm sitting here like, look, you can't really like have a relationship without giving them the trust, but then you've given it to them. You can't take it back until they do something with it, right? So you've given them the trust, and then I'm just scared. Like I know, like I've given them trust, they're gonna screw it up. Not necessarily, but like if they screw it up, then that's over. Like right, you know. But at that point,
and you don't want
that's a good thing.
You don't want to be like iffy and hesitant with your trust. You know, you want to give it to them because you love them, or you want to be able to love them. So. Yeah, it's. Oh,
I totally get I totally get what you're saying though, in terms of like you have a hard time
giving that up,
and like for me, it's the same thing except not with trust. It's with like the what ifs. Like I overanalyze a lot of stuff, especially in relationships. Like because my past ones, it's not that I was cheated on, but it's more of like I've just been broken up with every time, and it's like I feel like every time they just find something wrong with me and just break up with me over it. And it's like, what if like what is wrong with me that they're gonna find out this time and just break up with me? You know, like
she's like,
can
we talk
later?
Like,
you so good, dog. You're like, I gotta be perfect.
No, it's just like, you know, it's just one of those things. It's like, what if she doesn't like this specific thing about me and ends up breaking up?
And that's interesting because I'm the exact opposite.
Then she's not worth it.
I want them to break up
I
with
get
me.
that, but it's like throughout the relationship, you're always thinking of that. And like with him, it's just like you're always overanalyzing it and you're always thinking of that. And it's hard to like let those thoughts go. You know what I mean?
It's tough.
So,
yeah, past experiences make it tough to because you have to give it a fair ground. Like you have to give them a fair chance. But it's just the internal battle. Yeah, it's just like whenever you experience something, there's always going to be you're never going to have that like I don't know if this is considered a bad word, but the virgin take on it, right? You're never going to have that like I've never experienced it kind of take on it before, right? On anything you've done because you've now experienced it, so you now know, and with that past knowledge, you know that what it could do, you know. So that's in everything, and it's like super scary, you know, to kind of experience, and it's hard. It's so hard to just let it go and just be it. But it takes courage. I mean, I don't know if it takes courage, but it takes. It takes love. Like it takes love to say, "Look, this is passionate to you, and I trust you. And even though this is going to eat me up, like I trust you, right? And until they prove me wrong, which is exactly how I have done it before. Like even though it's something that's like, man, I just like it just gets to you. Like you can't stop thinking about it. Yeah. I've never been proven wrong. I've never been like. I've always been proven wrong with my dads. I guess I should say. Like they've never once mistreated me or misguided me or anything. But it's just. You know, I'm the same way. You're that kind of person, especially when it's something you care so much about or someone you care so much about. You want to what if everything, right? Because you're thinking to yourself, all right, this could hurt me. This could and I don't have any impact on it. I have no control over it. And so then you go into the overthinking mode. That's how you do with everything, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty natural and it's also kind of instinctual, you know. You love something, you don't want something to be taken away, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not even that something's fault, it's just that there's way more always in life, there's always more externalities than there are internalities, right? So there's always more things that can happen outside than there are things that can happen inside. So I trust everything here, but I know what can happen out there. Yeah. And so that's where I think overthinking comes from. And it's just something natural. And so I agree with Woods, and this is something else Woods and I were talking about, is just that even though it eats you up, if you love someone, you know it's important to them, like you'll fight through it, you know, you'll have to let it go, and you have to try to figure out your own way around it.
It all comes down to doing it with the right person, right? Yeah. Like if that, like obviously the person who cheated on me wasn't the right person, so you get like, obviously it sucks and like it takes time to get over that, but eventually like at this point it's just like I'm glad that happened because then I don't know how much longer it would have gone on without me knowing that wasn't the right person.
True.
You know what I'm saying? And especially, and the other hard part I had with it was I know why that happened, and in a way it could be seen as my fault a little bit. I don't want to get too into it. We can talk about it off camera, but it's kind of, then you start blaming yourself and you start going through that side, and then you just can't do that. Like literally anyone watching this, like you cannot blame yourself. It goes back to what we talked about getting offended. They're making the decisions. Yeah, you're not forcing them to make decisions. So don't ever beat yourself up because someone does something to hurt you. They were the ones who hurt you. You didn't force them to hurt you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That's a huge aspect for me.
You know what I don't understand, and maybe you can give me another take on this, is when someone is gotten cheated on and then they go back to that person.
Oh, I've
Or
never
or they
got
say,
that.
I never got that.
okay.
Never got that.
It's
I don't
it's very
understand.
much so a value, like a self-value thing, which I've never experienced, so I can never totally speak to it for it, right?
Yeah.
I think that's why I've had most problems with that's why I've been so internally like turmoiled. I think is that the verb? I've gone through a lot of internal
so.
turmoil, is I think the better way to say it, because I wish when things went bad in a relationship, it was just something clear cut like that. Which I'm saying without having ever had it, because maybe it would eat me alive. But it would have been. I feel like it'd be so much easier if like this girl cheated on me. All right, I can easily cut the ties because she has. It's clearly just a moral completely divide.
Yeah,
There's
it's
a
a
huge moral
no-no.
divide. Yeah, I can't love someone who does that to me, right? So it'd have been so much easier for me to not love them. But I
can
also don't
see-
know, and
I
so
can-
that's why I don't understand. I think it's a self-value thing, right? Like this person is what you see how this person sees you is how you value yourself. So I think a lot of it's like I can't get any better than this, right? Is what people start to view. So a lot of them just like, all right, well, I clearly can't get any better than this, so they go back and they keep going back and they keep getting hurt, but they're like, this is all I can get, and even though that's completely not true, it's just a psychological thing. Is all I can think of, you know?
It's all about self-value, and I can definitely, because I almost did that. I almost tried to go back to that girl. If I had done something different, then that wouldn't have happened. Does that make sense?
It's because you always.
That's why I think people like that go back, because
'cause
they're
you're
like, look,
controlling, yeah.
because you have this thought of like that was my fault when it's not, and you should never think that, but people do because we're all human, right?
So I don't understand it in terms of the dating part of it, but I can understand
Like within a marriage?
within a marriage, and you've been married for years. Because I know personally, I know
I guess
people.
I could be more understanding.
Yeah, I mean, I personally know people who were in relationships for like 7 years, 8 years, and the guy or the girl cheated and like had that one instance where they faltered and they messed up. But the person, like obviously trust is screwed up after that, and you have to kind of regain it back. But I think I can definitely understand like the person giving him a second chance, because I mean no one's perfect, and I do think that like I can see that in my mind of like I kind of just was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I let it happen. You know, like obviously you have to take responsibility for your actions, and you're the only person at fault is you. But I can understand that, and I also think there's a huge aspect of not necessarily like there's things missing from your marriage that you're not necessarily getting from your significant other. That's when you start seeking things outside of marriage, which I'm not saying is right, but that just goes into all of like communication and all that crap. But I do think I can understand it a little bit more if you've been in a relationship and been married for like years.
Yeah, and
but if I'm dating and like the girl cheats on me, like
because you don't want that in a marriage.
Oh, absolutely. That's easily like I'm like okay, well I'm like
it really
sorry.
depends like on like if you can forgive that person, and if that one thing like will either like make or break your marriage and a relationship. I mean, I'd be thinking about that if it happened now in my relationship. I don't know. I don't know. Like I have on one hand, I have so much love for this girl, but then like she like betrayed me, and this is hypothetical. And like so like it's like can you put it behind you? Like could you put it in the past?
I couldn't.
Yeah, right.
I never could.
Right?
If it happened, no matter what stage of my life, I would be like, I can't do this because
you don't deserve that.
That is a lot of what love is to me. Is that section of it too, right? Like that is inclusive and that's sacred to that.
Unless what Gunnar was saying,
I do think that a relationship is a lot more than the physical desires of it. And my only thing with that is that I think that knowing as a guy that sex or physical attraction can be completely separate from love, and I do think that like you can kind of have that physical attraction to someone without truly like loving that other person. And I think
And vice versa.
I think that
Absolutely.
like you can just make a mistake that way and still love your spouse. I mean, people are different. Like when you were saying the hypothetical situation, like it all just depends on like whether or not you can find it in yourself to forgive the other person.
Yeah, and it would depend on if
like-
she was like if she was if there was something lacking in our relationship that I could have been doing, you know, like whether it was emotional or physical.
I think that's always
that's always the first thing you do is look at yourself first. I mean,
right. And
but I do think that is
something wrong.
That is what's happening too, though. Is like,
but it should never be an
something.
option.
It should never. You should
not
never
at all.
do that. But
Not
we
at
just
all.
do. Yeah.
But I do think obviously that what would make the person like even remotely think about that is there has to be something that's lacking in the intimacy of the marriage.
And that's why, because like I've never been in a marriage or any relationship even that long, right? I've been in a relationship over a year and stuff, but I know like I knew I was in love because I couldn't look at another woman and be attracted, no matter how good looking she was, right? Like it could be any celebrity. I was like, I could tell that she's like good looking, but I had no, like, absolutely zero desire to have anything to do with her. I was because every time I was with this other girl in the room, I just wanted to be with her, right? And it was really, really weird. And it was even after a year, right? Even after like going through heartbreak, I was like, I don't know, I still love that girl. Like I still don't want to be with anybody else. Right. And that's kind of, I think, what leads into a lot of the issues with moving on too, is that because you, for so long, like even though you know you're supposed to and that there has its problems, for so long after being in love, you just want that person, right? You just want that person with these these things with these details, right? With these things fixed, with that person, it's perfect, right? And that's kind of what being in love is. So I think that's what's so hard is like even after your relationship and with going back and forth, you're constantly going back and forth in your head doing pros and cons, right? And I think the reason a lot of people relapse and go back into it is because at some points the pros are way higher than the cons. And like, this doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't I just go back, right? And then you go back and find out cons again. You're like, well, rip. And then you have to do it again. But I think that is kind of why I don't understand cheating necessarily. Is, I mean, obviously it's wrong, but more so than anything, when I'm in love, I physically cannot even imagine being with someone else. Like I just want to be with that person all the time, you know? So, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Like, obviously cheating comes from a relationship that isn't healthy. So clearly there's intimacy issues like you're saying, and that's what leads to it.
And I think that, like, obviously there's going to be changes in physical attraction
as you get older,
as you get older, and like there might be periods where you and your wife aren't sexually active or anything like that, but you're a man, you still, like, you know what I mean? I don't want to get too,
and there are
this,
girls that have a higher drive for that kind of stuff than guys, and but I feel like that stuff, like, if you don't have that figured out before marriage, then, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, for me, I know, like, there's certain things like that I'm a certain way, right? But if I'm finding someone like, oh, they're great, but there's like all these problems and they don't view this kind of stuff the same way, obviously being super vague, sorry guys, but that's kind of that is a big part of your relationship, right? And if you get married, guess what? You live with that for the rest of your life. And it makes sense if you're already married and you've been together for years, or some change happens, and because bodies change, hormones change, everything changes. It makes sense, and you have to battle through it, right? Yeah. And there's compromise, and you have to kind of like work through it, right? That's like a hard part. But if you don't figure that out, if there's that issue in the beginning and you don't figure it out before that, then I think that's more your fault, you know? So, and
that can go any aspect too, like belief system, political views, like all of that.
Everything can change. Yeah. Everything can change in a relationship, you know? I know a friend of mine whose mom, when he was younger, his mom left her husband, moved to another state, and began a relationship with her cousin that's a woman. After years of marriage, right? So literally the biggest switch of all time. Like literally changing their sexual orientation. Like this, she's not even like youth. It was just a huge change. And that's after years of marriage, you know? And it's crazy. It's little things like that can change. Just the mind is so malleable throughout your entire life, you know? So
that is interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird changes like that can happen. So
that's crazy.
It's very interesting.
With that will be the end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Down in our description box below, we have the link to our iTunes page where we have some episodes up. And we also have a link to our Patreon where if you are gracious enough, you can donate to this podcast there. And with that, we will see you guys next time.
Maybe.
Peace.
Peace.